Kid Curtain.
I'm 14 years old, don't know what to do. Brain is rotting cause I'm in middle school. Went to Jackson's house, it was kinda lame. Had the PlayStation without any games. So I start thinking that might be a solution. Maybe add a gaming law inside the Constitution. Give away the games to the kids who can't afford them, and lock away the kids who never post on gaming forums.
So I'm brainstorming ideas like it's my job, and then I think of something that shoots right up to the top. What if I started to make a game like it's my own? A story made up all about me, straight up on my dome.
How do I fund this? How do I create it? I can't make a game from a ripped piece of paper. I gotta get famous instead of just napping. I got an idea, get famous from rapping. I'll make $100 rapping all night looking tough. I'll use the money, make the game, I think that is enough. The game will be about my life and stories to be told. Besides, I'm a rapping, gaming, cool 14-year-old. Cool 14-year-old. Cool 14-year-old. 14-year-old. Cool 14-year-old. Cool 14-year-old. We never needed to elect the next president of the United States. He was right here the whole time. No, I'm serious. He's right here.
Ideological battle.
I'm Anthony Scabs. Thousands die from heart conditions every single.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what's wrong?
Do you know how to fix a bullet wound?
Yeah. I can do that for you.
Well, you're gonna need to know for yourself.
Oh.
So up next for you collectors out there, I've got my Captain amiibo. So then I said to him, the number 7 is one letter off even, but the number's not even. I'm Josh Treadmill. Let's get into it. And that's why Nerf N-Strike for the Wii is one of the most innovative shooter titles out there. If you're watching this, you're probably a world-famous rap artist who has it all. Jewelry, models, cars, drugs? Could anything possibly be better? Well, I'll tell you what. With our product, Gangsters to Gamers, we can give you even more. Have you ever wished that you could shapeshift, fly, go to different planets? Or maybe even something more simple, like legal murder with a push of a button. Call us right now and we can put you in a video game. The possibilities are endless. We've put dozens of rappers in our video games, from Meek Mill to Kanye West to Eminem. But today I want to introduce you to one of our happiest customers, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent. And welcome back to the show. Today we have two very special guests. Rap international superstar 50 Cent and game developer Cameron Crumb came on the show to talk to me about their 2005 video game smash hit 50 Cent Bulletproof. Now Mr. Jackson, or should I call you 50, thanks for coming on the show today. Why don't you start off by telling me your first reaction to seeing yourself in 50 Cent Bulletproof for the very first time?
The first time I saw myself in a video game was like they played the trailer for me. I was really excited about it because it looked so much like me that, you know, blew me away. And it like the graphics that they had in the trailer, it was like so much more like cutting edge than what I've seen before. Like, cause even I've seen other video games that had similar content, maybe like Grand Theft Auto or other different video games, and they don't quite have as many details as this video game has, you know, so.
50's preaching to the choir. I mean, come on, that guy's got a way with words. I mean, what was Grand Theft Auto doing that Bulletproof wasn't? You could drive around in an open world? Who cares? We had so many more details. Here, I'll show you. Here's a shot of Bulletproof next to a shot of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So back in 04, 50 Cent called me up and told me he wanted to make a video game. Can you believe it? 50 Cent called me on the phone. So that's exactly what we did. In 2005, 50 Cent Bulletproof released. It was an action video game that released on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. 50 brought in everyone who was anyone for this thing. Dr. Dre was an arms dealer, Eminem was a corrupt cop. Man, this game was gonna be a hit.
At the same time, use my imagination, you know, because this is not the, you know, the reality of what I would actually be doing in the street or anything. It's actually a game, but it has so much details to it that it feels real. I feel like it's going to be the most exciting video game this year, probably for the next few years before they find something better than this.
Yeah, you know, no, I probably wouldn't say that, no. It definitely wasn't the most exciting video game for the next few years. Honestly, I don't think it was the best video game that year at all. Resident Evil 4, known to be one of the best games of all time, came out that year, and that game looked way better than Bulletproof. Oh yeah, and Guitar Hero made its debut that year. God of War, Battlefield 2, Mario Kart DS, Call of Duty 2, Animal Crossing Wild World. 2005 was a great year for video games, and game after game was receiving great reviews from publications all over the world. Unfortunately, the same could not be said about 50 Cent Bulletproof. The gameplay mechanics were looked down upon by a lot of fans of the shooter genre because they were clunky and really hard to use compared to dozens of other games that were out around that time. The story and presentation, along with the music and cutscenes, were appreciated by fans of hip-hop and especially 50 Cent, but it wasn't really enough to make up for the tedious and repetitive street fights that the game relied on for content. So our story begins with 50 Cent and G-Unit rolling up on some no-good dudes trying to hurt his friend. He tries to save him, but he ends up getting shot 9 times and left for dead.
But whoever they were, this wasn't the time to stick around and find out.
Was it 7 times? Oh no, yeah, that's 9. That's 9. Now, Bulletproof is a fictional story about 50 Cent trying to get revenge on the hitman who attempted to murder him, but as many fans of 50 Cent know, he actually was shot 9 times in real life.
I got, shot 9 times. A fragment portion of it is in my tongue.
Oh, yeah, I can feel it.
My next girl was a pain in the ass. I got 2 shots left in case niggas try to get me. That's 9 shots, we'll just call it 50.
After he recovers, he visits Detective Aaron McVicar. McVicar?
Aaron McVicar was a corrupt.
McVicar, okay. Detective Aaron McVicar. Now, this guy is a corrupt cop who helps out 50 Cent in return for some cash. And then that's kind of when I spaced out on the story. The plot for this game is very much just killing some guys and then talking to some guys and then you go and kill some guys again. Fans of 50 Cent didn't really mind this because there were constant cameos from other big rappers around the time. But as I said before, a lot of people did not like the gameplay. There's characters who are stuck in weird positions, like this guy who has his head cocked sideways 100% of the time. And you have this guy who's standing in the corner and he looks like he's in a horror game. Also, the shooting mechanics were a lot worse than other games out around that time. Unlike other shooting games at the time, like Call of Duty, there wasn't really an aiming function, so the sensitivity on the controllers made it really hard to aim down enemies and actually kill them. Also, a lot of 50 Cent's dialogue relies on the fact that he was shot 9 times, and he says stuff like,
"It's gonna take more than 9 shots to kill me."
But then the gameplay revolves around getting in gunfights, and you're shot dozens and dozens of times throughout the duration of the game. So I don't really think it has the same effect that he thought it would when writing the script. But a lot of people actually really did love the story, and most people who owned this game in the 2000s had really great memories of it. In 2006, 50 Cent Bulletproof G-Unit Edition came out for the PSP, which had the same stories and cutscenes, but it had top-down gameplay formatted for a portable system. Luckily, this version of the game also had a vitamin water minigame included because 50 Cent was the spokesperson for them at the time. He actually had a pretty great tagline for them.
Vitamin water, try it.
The gameplay in the G-Unit edition was a lot different since it was formatted for the PSP, but it still ran into its own problems and it was just about as well received as the original. As a game, Bulletproof was never really the smart choice to pick up if you were looking for a new game at the time. If you wanted a story-driven third-person shooter, you'd pick up Resident Evil 4, and if you were looking for a less linear environment to get in gunfights and kill random enemies, then Grand Theft Auto was better by a long shot. And if you were 6-year-old me, you'd just be playing Animal Crossing Wild World. But of course, the point of the game wasn't to make a revolutionary shooting game, despite 50 Cent's beliefs, but it was to showcase some of America's favorite rappers with cool music videos, violent gunfights, and never-before-heard music from 50 Cent. As a result, the game sold very well, and less than 4 years later, we saw the release of 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. But that's a story for another day. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, please subscribe and come back next Monday for another one. My recommendation for the week is a game called Super Hot. It's a first-person shooter where time only moves when you move. I've never really played any game I can relate to Super Hot, so you kind of have to play it to understand what the gameplay is like. The gameplay is pretty short, but if you like the concept of it, there's plenty of extra content after the main story is over. So if you're interested in Gangsters to Gamers, call us now at 1-800-GANG. And this week's Gamer of the Week is Kanye West in NBA 2K10. So why start thinking that might be a solution? Maybe add a gaming law inside the Constitution. Give away the games to the kids who can't afford them, and lock away the kids who never post on gaming forums.
So I'm brainstorming ideas like it's my job, and then I think of something that shoots right up to the top. But what if I started to make a game like it's my own? A story made up all about me straight up on my dome.